I remember I heard many conversations and different people talking about it. How you told about when the Rabash passed away in your arms, and there's constantly this thing in the air, something that the Rabash told you before he passed away, some information that he passed on to you. How secret is that information, actually? It is top secret. But he told you something. He told. It's very boring to live without a small secret. Why do you want it to stop being secret? Then it won't be interesting. Maybe he told you about the formula of creation. He told me about everything, all the secrets of the world. Well, how is it possible to pass on all the secret at once? Somehow energetically? You'll be a good boy. You'll study. And you'll find out, too. But really, is there a kind of lawfulness? There are no secrets. If you're capable of understanding, you'll understand, and if you aren't, you won't. There are no miracles in the world. It all depends on the person. The whole of creation is before you. If you can see it, you will. If you can't, you won't. Everything's said in the Book of Zohar. What do you see from there? Like a cat looking into the book, what does it see? The same are we. It's all up to the person himself, and no one can open up a person's eyes but he himself. Thus, if the Rabash told me something before death, and, so to speak, on the deathbed, as he was dying in my arms, then much of what he said, he didn't say much, but part of what he said I understood back then, part I understood later. And maybe another part I'll understand later, to the extent of my growth. But it had to do only things between us two. He told me about the role, the future which I have to realize. And thus, I went forward very bravely on my own, not leaning on and not counting on anyone. I knew that only I myself have to build this system, and only I have to put it on its feet and to build the next generation of Kabbalists, which will become a group and will collectively decide about the method of correction for the whole of humanity. They will be that kernel around which humanity will gather more and more as a bigger and bigger group. And that way they will ascend to the Creator. A Kabbalist, while he's crossing into another dimension, can he pass on his soul? He isn't going anywhere. Why pass it on? At the moment, they're all present, but nonetheless, you had a lot of stress since your teacher went away. No, it wasn't a big stress. No, not at all. I had a very big habit nonetheless. I was with him for 12 years, next to him. Many times I caught myself, I have to go to him, I'm late, I'll tell him about this. And this I'll ask him. It was all so automatic inside myself. Not that he left. I had no problem with that. But that it kind of physically left me, that I was very physically connected to him. That was the body, that's interesting. The bodily, living level, the beastly level, it, how to put it, it sort of stayed in motion, kind of, to the extent that I'm driving in the same car, and I kind of feel him next to me. Because nonetheless, We used to ride together for years, for hours, and at the same places, or, well, that basically. But actually, no. Well, I think that, first of all, you have to accept everything the way it goes. You don't have to try and change or influence your destiny, but we simply have to keep on going together, advancing. We're all advancing together. He and Bala Sulam and all the Kabbalists of the past, up to Adam, we're all advancing together towards the same goal. And I hope that I'm following the path he commanded me to. I feel him next to me, his support and the support of all the others. I have no doubt about that, but only that you have to constantly try and do it in the best possible way. That's it. Simply forwards, and that's that. And I hope that I'll see my group of students all over the world united, being the spiritual kernel of humanity, starting to elevate the whole of humanity above our world, opening the spiritual world for them, eternity, the perfection, the wholeness, the upper force, the creator, and so on, presenting them with the true method. And I hope that all this will be implemented in a good way without wars and suffering in the very near future. And a part of it I will still be able to see, meaning that I will be able to partake in it physically. If not, then the same way as the Rabash is with us today, I'll be with you from a different dimension. So what? How to say, I'm not feeling sorry for myself. I think I look at things very realistically. I'd like to realize more things, but that's it. You become very different when you speak about the Rabash. You really change. You have a kind of awe that appears, and on the one hand, you change, really. It's a teacher. It's the teacher. As if, on the one hand, you recall his physical form, along with it you say that he exists here, that he's present here, you kind of justify his physical absence. Both. Yes, that's interesting. But physically, in the past it was very dominant, because I was constantly tied with him in my daily schedule. The morning lesson with him, afterwards the drive with him, afterwards studying with him, buying goods for him. My wife, she cooked for him lunch, so I brought it to him, going together with him to the sauna, to the sea, on walks, to doctors, studying next to him, questions, answers, meaning it was all around him and for years. And of course, when suddenly such a person leaves you, dies in your arms and so on, and that very day he's buried and you have nothing left, then there's a connection left with him, but that connection, it's different nonetheless. It's, how to say, it demands some kind of a new materialistic readjustment, not a spiritual one. Spiritually, he died, I understood that he's dying, and before that, he gave me his books, his archive, in the evening. He passed away in the morning, about at 6, 7 a.m. And the previous evening, he gave me his shamati, he gave me his notebooks, that he took with him to the hospital, and he said, "Take this, use it." So I understood that things aren't going for the better, and I told the guys. I came out of his room. No one was let in besides me, and I told him, "Guys," I came out with his notebooks, with all that he wrote, and I said, "Guys, look, I have a bad feeling about this." But it was all unexpected. You were supposed to come a bit later, you came 10 minutes earlier. Yeah, but that's all non-important. Circumstances. It's of no importance. The thing is that, of course, it all had to happen. You can't do anything about that. And we're going forwards. There are no regrets or hating yourself for something. No, not at all. You accept everything the way it's supposed to be, and that's it. Forward. It's necessary to realize everything very clearly, evidently, realistically. The goal is to implement all these ideas into life. Did that stress give you any push to develop? I wouldn't say that there was any stress about it. No, it wasn't stressful for me at all. Seriously. Because the contact on the spiritual level was such that simply materialistically, well, physically that was missing here, there, so many hours a day, being together, studying together. Although I have 1,500 cassettes on which I recorded him. Besides, I have his books, I have his archive, I can create, I can make, I can do a tremendous, enormous amount of work. I immediately immersed myself in it. And besides, my father passed away half a year after the Rabash, 4 months after the Rabash. So I had to go to Canada, be next to him, until he passed away, and I came back from there, and I had to say it all accumulated. And those cassettes, did you ever use them to study? No, practically no. No, you can use them. They're in our archive. Anyone could go there and listen to any cassette about the entire TESS, the study of TESS, and all that he taught us, besides my personal conversations with him. Everything's there. So much material that you've recorded in this time. How much do you think people will return to it? Because nonetheless, it's a matter of time. I don't think that people will get back to it. I don't think that the wisdom of Kabbalah will be studied the way it was, because people now are in a state where they can emotionally quickly enter the spiritual world, realizing it through the group. Thus, this meticulous way of studying of all the different problems that are researched through all those many volumes, it won't last. Won't last. There will be attainment, but in practice. They had no practice. They passed it on such that whatever they felt, they passed it on. And we have to realize it all in practice.